So Reddit has this huge a thing called Am I the A-hole? And people write in, and they get just massive responses. And it really made me start thinking, and here's why. Yesterday's it was a husband saying to the wife, before you start reading the article, that he was telling her she would be much better used in their home if she would clean the kitchen or put some of that time to use into being at home and present and cleaning and whatever. And so the headline was such a grabber, because it was like, oh, this guy's such a jerk telling the wife, get to cleaning or whatever. But then when I read the article, basically what he said was that he makes enough money that she stays home with very young children and that she wanted to have a side gig. And so she decided she was going to become a momfluencer. And that the first thing she started doing was postpartum fitness. And the guy was like, first of all, she doesn't know anything about fitness, so it was a colossal flop because she doesn't know anything about what she's trying to sell. And then she went into another thing of like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and then she started telling her life story and opening up to where she's overly personal and trying to get people to follow her. And after 2 years of constant, every day, posting on Instagram, trying to become an influencer, but it's just been a strategically terrible flop, and she hasn't been able to get it going. And so he said to her, you're missing so much time with the kids because you're constantly on Instagram. You're constantly on your phone. You're not around the kids, but yet you're a stay-at-home mom with the kids, and your time would be more valued being of service to this house. And so, obviously, she was upset, but I can so see both sides because part of me says, if she's so faithful and posts every single day for these 2 years, even though I think she's picked things that she's not a person to go to. If you don't know anything about fitness, don't become the fitness influencer because you don't have anything to show, even if you might have a nice body, and I don't know. I don't know what this girl looks like. But I was thinking about, you have that half where sometimes you're working really hard and you don't see results until a certain breakthrough. But then there's the other part that goes, but look at how many people have wasted this valuable, precious time because they're just chasing anything they can think of trying to do the cash grab. So, like, when you hear both sides of that story, what is your immediate thought to somebody who's trying really hard to make that money online?
People come to me and they say, hey, no, you've written all these books, and I want to write a book, and I know exactly the next sentence out of their mouth. And I say, oh, what's your book about? And they always say, oh, it's about my life story. And I always, I know exactly what they're going to say. And what I'm going to say to everybody out there who's listening to this who might be thinking about that is nobody cares. Nobody cares about your life story unless your name is Kim Kardashian or Paris Hilton or you all are already a celebrity. Nobody cares about your life. We all have a life story. And see, this is another thing that the gurus are so guilty of, and I can't stand that they do this. They say, they literally will say, everybody wants to hear your life story. No, they don't. No, they don't. We don't care. Nobody cares about your life story unless you make your life story applicable to me, meaning your target market. Okay, that's the thing they never tell you. So they're literally telling all these people out there exactly what, your story that you shared. And so I would be coaching this woman. I would show her why she's doing it wrong. I would help her fix it. Because she's just literally doing it all wrong. So there's by the way, I'll just mention another thing. You talked about the fact that she was posting every day, posting content, whether it's, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. That is so wrong. So wrong. That is a terrible thing to do. You don't need to do it. There is so much content out there. We are drowning in content. And so it used to be, and this is what the gurus all said, content is king. No, it is not. Not anymore. Maybe back in 2006, content was king. But, oh, my God, is that dead. So dead. So you've got to have a strategic approach, which, of course, I teach my clients, a strategic approach. I only post maybe, 2 times a day. But, I mean, of course, I have a team that does it for me. And if you're saying, well, that's great. No, I don't have the money. I can't afford that. I get it. But my point to all of you listening, if you're thinking about becoming an influencer, number one, you don't need to post every day. You don't need to be Gary Vee. Gary Vee is famous for saying, you need to do 64 pieces of content a day. Oh, Gary. And he's a dear friend of mine, by the way. I love Gary. He's a brilliant guy. The problem is that we're not Gary Vee. I'm not Gary Vee. Nobody else is Gary Vee. You know, he's a brilliant guy, but he got there at the beginning. Okay, so we can't go back in time. We've got to deal with what we have now. You could do really, really well with just 2 or 3 great content pieces per week. That's all you need to do, number one. And number two, you really do need to pick your platform. You know, it would be smart for all of you who are wanting to do this. Pick your platform. If you're great on TikTok, do TikTok. If you're great on YouTube, no. So, for example, for me, I chose YouTube. YouTube is the one that I'm doubling, tripling down on, because when I'm talking to people on the phone or I'm, doing breakthrough consultations with them, I'll always ask them, where'd you hear about me? 9 out of 10 people say, oh, I saw you on YouTube. So I'm like, okay, that's what we call a clue. So I'm doubling, tripling down on YouTube, and these are just a few of the things that you can do. And by the way, I do see both sides of that argument, but I would really help that woman to do it right so that she can spend more time with her kids and still make more money.